may have heard that a good conclusion restates the thesis of the essay and summarizes the key points. While this strategy may allow you to reiterate the main thrust of your essay, it fails to address a concern that many readers may still have once they've reached the last page. So what? These critical readers may expect to learn not only how you treat the topic, but also what makes your treatment of the topic significant. You'll need to show them how your key points relate to and support your thesis statement, and in the process, demonstrate why your treatment of the topic matters. Here are 6 strategies that will help you to expand on your key points and thesis statement in the final paragraph, and perhaps answer that lingering question, so what?
An effective conclusion helps the reader to understand how the separate parts of an essay add up to something significant. A basic strategy is to restate the thesis and summarize the main ideas. But you can apply more sophisticated approaches that also address any lingering concerns about the significance of your ideas. Try one of these strategies the next time you sit down to write the final paragraph of a college essay. Discuss the results or consequences of the points you make in the body of the essay. Place the topic in a broader context or globalize the thesis. Call your readers to action. Incorporate a quotation that refocuses the reader's attention on the thesis, the key points, and their combined significance. Offer a statistic that illuminates the thesis and key points in a new way. Let's take a look at some sample conclusions to see these strategies at work. The most basic conclusion provides a restatement of the thesis and a brief summary of the main ideas. This approach is appropriate to longer papers that include many points in support of a complex thesis. For example, the concluding paragraph of an essay about immigration might restate the original thesis and remind the reader of the key points developed in separate sections of the paper. Immigrants from around the world have contributed to the political, economic, and cultural life of the United States. The framers of the U.S. Constitution, which set the stage for our modern democracy, were themselves immigrants. Many of the technological advances that generate the world-class products and services we offer can be traced back to scientists who came here in the last century. Finally, new immigrants continue to bring their native influences and blend them with homegrown styles to generate a perennial burst of new art, music, and dance. America truly is a nation of immigrants. If you choose this strategy for a conclusion, reword or paraphrase the original thesis statement and key points of the essay. Don't add any new topics in the last paragraph because you won't have a chance to fully develop a new point with supporting evidence. Even at the end of your essay, a critical reader might still wonder, so what? Why is this topic important? How do the ideas developed in this paper have any wider significance? You can address these concerns by ending your essay with a paragraph that discusses the results or forecasts the consequences of your findings. For example, the essay on immigration might end with a discussion of how an increase in the rate of immigration has sparked a national debate. The rate of immigration to the United States has fluctuated over the past century, while the current trend rivals the first 2 decades of the 20th century, when as many as 1 million new immigrants entered the country per year. The result has been an increase in public awareness and an intense debate among lawmakers over immigration policy. One view is that existing laws cannot meet the challenge of so many new candidates for immigration. Others argue that concerns about national security must be met before we consider the needs of potential immigrants. Ultimately, decisions about who should be admitted to the United States and in what numbers will balance prevailing concerns over national security with social attitudes about immigrants' rights. Now the critical reader can put down the essay confident that your treatment of the topic has broad significance. Another way to explain the significance of your topic in a concluding paragraph is to expand the context of your analysis or explain how the topic relates to other areas of inquiry. In the essay on immigration, an effective conclusion might discuss how the debate over immigration relates not only to economic and political effects, but also to cultural concerns. The opportunities and challenges of immigration have sparked a national debate about the economic ramifications of a growing influx of new immigrants. This debate extends to the effects of immigration on culture and language as well. In some communities, the foreign-born population outnumbers the population of residents born in the United States. In many cases, these immigrant communities use their native languages and draw upon their native cultures to conduct business. Some supporters of a new immigration policy point to these effects as evidence that the federal government should enact new restrictions. Opponents of new restrictions argue that a multilingual and multicultural population is the right recipe for a strong economy. Show the critical reader that your treatment of the topic is defensible within a different context, in this case, the context of language and culture, in addition to that of economics. Even if your main purpose is not to persuade your audience, a call to action might be a good way to get your readers involved and make them feel that the topic is important. For example, if you've analyzed a problem in the body of your essay, the concluding paragraph may be a good place to recommend a solution. Let's consider a call to action at the end of a history paper on U.S. immigration. The quota system defined U.S. immigration policy from 1921 to 1965. Federal laws were enacted to maintain the original ethnic and racial origins of an earlier influx of immigrants. The second half of the 20th century saw the focus change to laws that would preserve the values of democracy and a free market economy. In all this time, the historic openness of the American people, their willingness to accept newcomers from around the world, has been sustained by the need for technological savvy and dependable labor. Let us not now promote a new era in which ethnicity and race are again the chief criteria used to measure a person's right to become an American citizen. Let us instead enact fair and balanced policies that encourage civic responsibility and hard work, regardless of our places of origin. Closing the essay with a call to action was a favorite strategy among the great essayists of the 20th century, including George Orwell and Martin Luther King, Jr. Sometimes a quotation in the concluding paragraph will help to illuminate your treatment of the topic. For example, the essay on the history of U.S. immigration might end with a quotation that expands on the topic and shows it in a new light. Both the successes and the inevitable failures of past immigration policies might help us to evaluate current immigration law. The mixed response of the legislature to great floods of new immigrants streaming through Ellis Island, followed by periods when the numbers trickled to none, might provide answers to the following questions. Who should we admit, and in what numbers? If we go back far enough, we might even unearth the spirit expressed in the poem by Emma Lazarus, inscribed at the base of the Statue of Liberty. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. The most compelling conclusion might include a statistic that illustrates your central point. In this conclusion, the writer highlights the number of immigrants who came to the United States within a period discussed in the paper and contrasts that number against the current rate of immigration. This strategy also expands the context and gives the reader a compelling answer to the question, so what? The rate of immigration is an indicator not only of the attraction that the United States has in other parts of the world, but also of changing social attitudes toward new immigrants. The population of the United States in 1800 was 5.3 million. By 1815, the number had grown to 8.4 million. Over the next 100 years, the country took in 35 million immigrants. Today, the country receives more than 1 million new immigrants every year, and the issue is at the center of political and social debate in the country. A brief history of immigration policy can offer timely lessons for a nation on the verge of new enactments to control immigration.
The last paragraph of a college essay can do more than simply repeat the central idea and key points. Think of the conclusion as the last chance to prove that what you have to say about the topic is significant. You can accomplish this in a number of different ways. First, You might discuss the results or consequences of your thesis. Or place the topic of your essay in a broader context. You might call upon your readers to take action. Or incorporate a quotation that refocuses the reader's attention on the thesis. Alternatively, you might offer a statistic that shows off your thesis in a new light. Any one of these strategies can help you to anticipate and respond to that lingering concern your readers may still have when they reach the last paragraph. So what?